Good morning and welcome to the program FYI, and we invite into the studio now Chris Baldus. He is the editor of the Clinton Herald. So, Chris, let's find out a little bit about you, your background, first of all, sir.
Okay, well, actually, first, before we get started, there's something that I've never been able to do that I'd like you just ask me a nonsense question, and I would like to do this. Just
Okay.
Go ahead. Any old question.
What's your favorite color?
No comment.
There you go. Have you ever gotten that? Do you get a lot of that in the business?
Well, generally, I've had my share. And generally it's not always as good as just a no comment. It's just kind of walking away or something like that. But hey, I can cross that off my bucket list now.
There you go. Very good. I'm glad I was able to help you out with that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So what was your real first question?
The background.
My background.
Yeah.
I am a suburban child from the Twin Cities. I grew up in a town called Cottage Grove, which was a river town that doesn't realize it's a river town. We were on the backwaters of the Mississippi. And so I grew up in there, and I went to college down here at Mount Pleasant, Iowa. I was at Iowa Wesleyan for 2 years. Was recruited by the great Mick Caba. Came on down here to play football. We won 2 games, I think, maybe 4, 2, but I think I don't remember. My football career is not auspicious, but I did play 4 years of college football because after I left Iowa Wesleyan, I went up to Augsburg, up in Minneapolis. I don't think we won a game, but I did get to start. I replaced a 400-pound tackle. As you can see now, I'm not quite as big as I used to be, but I'm near my playing weight, and we didn't do so well. But so I went to there, and then when I got into the business, now I always wanted to be in newspapers,
okay,
because when I was a kid, I'm also kind of a comic book nerd. I grew up reading comic books and stuff. After I discovered a comic in our basement called World of Wheels with Ken something or other, and from there I was just entranced with comic books, and all of the best superheroes to me were newspaper or newspaper related. Superman, of course, he's a reporter.
Right,
Wish
yeah.
I could type and write like him. Then Peter Parker, who's kind of an unethical photographer, and then Captain America was an artist. So I don't know if I don't think he ever did anything like courtroom sketches or anything, but he was an artist after. So anyway, I always liked to learn things about stuff that people didn't want me to learn about. That kind of gave me a good reputation in high school. People would, if they wanted to find something out, they generally would ask me, and I would go and ask the people who didn't want to be asked things.
So what have been the stops been in this profession of yours?
I went to, my first stop was a little paper called the Dassel-Cokato Enterprise Dispatch. I was applying out of Augsburg. I was applying all over the place, sending myself all over the place, looking for a sports job.
Okay.
And I got a call back from Carolyn out at the Enterprise Dispatch, and she said, we really don't need a sports guy, but can you design ads? So of course I said yes. Hung up the phone, went to the computer lab, talked to the people there, and says, what do you use to build ads? And this is back when they had a PageMaker, so I learned how to make ads on PageMaker, and I looked there. I got the job, obviously. I said I'd take the job if I could be I'll make your ads if I can also be the sports editor. To them was, sure, that's fine, and we got plenty of time to do both. And that's when I was out there with I covered sports. I was an announcer for a while, a stadium announcer for the Dassel Saints, the town ball team, the town baseball team. Now that network is fantastic. These are just the guys who work in the community go and play baseball. It was like one of the greatest summers I've ever had.
Was that up in Minnesota?
I was up in Minnesota.
Oh, okay, all right.
So, but from there, I went back to my hometown paper in Cottage Grove. Then I went to Marshall, Minnesota. Wasn't really enamored with Marshall, Minnesota. Not a whole lot of trees. And I was down there. You remember the year of the Red River flooding?
Yes.
That was the winter before that when we had the snow stacking up higher than semis. They actually would cut canyons through. And that's the year I was down there. Okay. So I went from Marshall, and then I went to Stillwater, Minnesota. That was my first editor gig, another river town, which, river towns fascinate me. There's something special about river towns.
Well, you got to be happy to be here. We got the Mississippi right here.
I know it. And
not the small backwater Mississippi that you grew up near.
No.
We got the Mississippi.
This is the real one. I can't walk across this one. I don't think I can walk across this one. I think they probably dredge it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be able to do that.
Yeah. But I went from my wife and I would have been perfectly happy staying in Stillwater. We were having a great time with the Stillwater Gazette. They had a small staff. We were like the second oldest daily in the state, and we like to say we were an underpowered little staff, beating the big boys, the Pioneer Press and Star Trib in our little area. So we had a chip on our shoulder.
Yeah.
But my wife and I had triplets. And
congratulations.
So thank you. And we decided we thought we were special in our family. Because there were a lot of twins and stuff in our family, but here we came up with triplets. 6 months after we had ours, there was another Baldus family down in I think Grand Meadow, Minnesota. They had triplets. It's just no fair.
Again, visiting with Chris Baldus now with the Clinton Herald. So, what was the stop before the Herald, and how'd you end up here in Clinton?
Well, I went to real quick. I went from. I've been in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Idaho. Then I came back here to Iowa.
Okay.
And in Iowa, I was at the Quad City Times for years. Oh. That's where I met Dave Thompson. I worked with him on the copy desk there. After the Quad City Times, basically they shipped out our jobs, the copy desk jobs, and none of us really went. We could have either gone to Gary, Indiana, or Nebraska. Nobody wanted to go there. I ended up in Charles City.
Okay. And
after Charles City, I ended up over in Owine. That's where I was right before Clinton. I had pretty much decided after like 4 or 5 years at Owine, decided to. My wife is a teacher in Nashua. So I went and got my substitute teaching license, and I had retired from the business, basically. I stepped out, and I was substitute teaching for a year, which is hard. You try to hang out for a day with kindergartners is as tough as training camp in football.
I would think so, yeah.
I always went home sore. So then Dave had dropped my name over to Ron and the crew over here, and they were looking to replace Shar, who had moved on.
Before we take a break for the weather, as you mentioned, your wife was a teacher. You were making all of these stops. Mm-hmm. Was she teaching in each one of these, or when did she start teaching?
Yeah, she was teaching in each one of the. When we first had triplets, she stayed home with the kids. Okay. Why pay people to raise their kids when we had so many of them? It would economically wrong. But I always say, through all of our years, I think it was 35 years of marriage, she's always supported my journalism habit. That's how I was able to do all of this.
Well, I've got a wife who has supported what I've done for 47 years, so I know how important that is.
Yeah.
Again, visiting with Chris Baldus. We're going to take a break for the weather now, brought to you by Electronics.
Tracking another storm system that'll bring a wintry mix to the area late tonight into Friday. Before then, mostly cloudy, much warmer today. We'll see highs near 50. A mix of rain and snow, possibly freezing rain tonight with a winter weather advisory in place. Low temperatures near freezing. With your WQAD Storm Track 8 forecast, I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzky.
Right now we do have fair skies. We're up to 40 degrees. Our update brought to you by Electronics.
Electronics Incorporated in Clinton is the area's largest communication and alarm systems company. Electronics offers best-in-class life safety, security, two-way radios, and communications equipment from top brands. Electronics, the company you've trusted for over 50 years, can now provide fire extinguisher furniture sales, service, and inspections, plus kitchen hood inspections as well. Call or visit them online at www.electronicsinc.com for your free estimate.
Again, on FYI, a pleasure to have in studio with us Chris Baldus, now editor of the Clinton Herald. You've been here, you were telling me, since mid-September. Give me your first impressions of the paper, of the community, and of the staff that you're working with.
Mm-hmm. Well, you remember I said in Stillwater we saw ourselves as a underpowered little newspaper and stuff like that. And with all the changes going through COVID and just the way that the industry has changed, the Clinton Herald, I look at it like that. They are the staff that are coming here. It's a young staff. It is a enthusiastic staff. They're doing some great things. I'll tell you, this sports editor that we have, Eric, you know him.
Yes.
And the Chappies project that they do, to give extra attention to our area athletes, that is fantastic. I have not seen something quite like that, not even down in the Quad Cities, quite like that. And the work that he puts into that is impressive.
Yeah, I work a little bit with Eric on that, and you're right, that is an amazing thing. And then when they have the annual event, and they've had it at the Lions Middle School, put on very well by the Herald. And
I'm really looking forward to that as well. And Jenna is a very conscientious reporter, and she, like reporters do, she's learning about a lot of things that I don't think she ever really expected that she was going to be learning about. And she does a good job, and I enjoy working with her. And she, after Shar had moved on, I guess she retired 20 more than 2 decades here, which, as I was telling you earlier, that's impressive as heck. I mean, that was I bow to her. She that was a fantastic run. Okay, you've been here for 47, so I am not worthy.
Oh yeah, yes you are.
So I'm enjoying that, but there's no but about this. Ron is fantastic too. Ron is one of the reasons after I met him and then other people in this CNHI company, I decided, I can come out of retirement and come back into journalism, and I've had a lot of fun with it. One of the things that I've wanted to do is that I wanted to get back into regular column writing, which I've been able to do. Hey, I'm up to number 6. I'm in column number 6.
I read your column today, as a matter of fact.
I generally it's a lot of nonsense, and I cap it off. Generally, depending on what kind of column it is, I cap it off with a dad joke, because I believe that the world needs more dad jokes. And like when I was substitute teaching, I believed all children need to be punished with dad jokes. So,
you were at the Symphony of Lights, a very great event here in our community. Of course, I would imagine have seen the river. You've been down on the riverfront. Your take on our community, sir?
Oh, it's a like I said, I love river towns, and there's the people that I've met are very enthusiastic about their town, and we have a community board here that we pulled together. It's kind of like an editorial board with community board that comes in and advises us and talks to us about what's going on, and all those people. This community, I think, is fortunate to have people like that who are plugged in. And one of the areas that we plugged into real quickly was with the history folk. And in our Friday digital editions right now, we started running a series that it's written by them with pictures of right now it's the buildings, historic buildings in towns, and there's stories behind them. And when a community has pride like they do in their history, that is a building block. That is fantastic.
Are you talking about Matt Parbs? Matt does such a great job with history, and I know he's done things for the Clinton Herald. He's now with Grow Clinton. Do you know Matt?
I think I ran into him.
Okay.
We're going to actually have a meeting I think, next week. So I have lots of meetings with people coming up. I got a lot of people to meet, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Talk a little bit about your responsibilities as the editor of the Clinton Herald.
Well, back when we picture it this way: the Clinton Herald is a big old building, and there's a lot of space there that is not used anymore, because that's where we used to have the layout tables, and you used to, basically there's a lot of things that you learned in kindergarten, cut and paste, all that kind of stuff, ABCs, you used to lay out a newspaper. We used to. And so there was dozens of people. I don't know exactly what staffing was here, but I know in dozens of people who'd put them together, who'd proof them, who'd take photos, who'd halftone the photos, who'd do all kinds of steps to put this thing together. Mm-hmm. Now with technology, all of that stuff, including going out and taking photos and writing the stories and proofing them, sorry about that, is all crammed down into what I call editor ink. Not my term, I read it someplace else once. And so we do all of that with my bag over there.
Yeah.
It has my laptop in it. That's it. That's all of those people, all of that office is now that. Okay. And so that's kind of what my regular day is. I'm in the office more than I actually really want to be, because I'd rather just be out and about taking photos, talking with folks, seeing what interesting is going on out there. But I'll go in, I put together the obituaries, which I guess now that I'm getting older, I really am seeing the fascination with it. It's not a morbid thing, though, because the stories that each one of these, there's one in there right now about a guy who he was teaching in Taiwan. He was teaching English in Taiwan for I don't know many years. So we have there's a lot of fascinating people out there, and that's always what's fun about moving to a new community, is that I get to see a lot of this fresh, mm-hmm. and that's what I'm looking forward to now. So
have you set any goals or ideas of how long you're going to be with our community, or what the future might hold for Chris Baldus?
Oh, I don't know. I am buying a house.
Okay.
Yep, I'm buying a house down by the Lumber King Stadium. Okay. And then my family is still living out in Nashville, because I have one child left at home. She's a junior at Charles City High School.
Okay.
Haven't convinced her to come here yet, but there might be an opening now, because Charles City, which rejected a bond referendum to repair their high school, mm-hmm. and replace their auditorium, they rejected it, and now the boiler there apparently broke down, along with the leaking roof. The place, it's kind of imploding. Mm-hmm. And then I come here and I see what this school district is doing with their high school and their facilities. And I mean, folks, you guys got to be proud about what you're putting together here.
Yeah.
I've covered arts and stuff in that auditorium. And it's a very nice auditorium. I'm sending photos of that to my daughter and saying, hey, you know what? This might be the right place for you. She's a great cellist. Tell you what, Clinton, start calling her and recruiting her. Maybe you can get her.
There you go. And they are, of course, adding on the addition where it is going to be more of the fine arts, so they'll be moving out of the Vernon Cook theaters. So, yeah. But she's a junior. Too bad she wasn't a freshman. Then she could really take advantage of that.
Well, maybe we'll give her a year off.
She'll be a red shirt. There you go.
Red shirt.
Well, you appreciate your time. We're getting toward the end of our time, and you do ramble on. You do a great job of that. I appreciate that. So, final thoughts that you would like to pass along to our listeners about the importance of a local newspaper.
Local newspaper is, it's foundational to a community, in that it's a shared experience. Whereas you can go on social media and you can have your own experience that shares with people only that you want to share with, and so you get that message. You get just that message. The papers have always been huge and inclusive. That's what we want to be, and that is why that's what makes it special. It's a communication point. Towns that lose their newspapers, they lose that. And maybe we're going to be more online, but it's the same kind of thing. The same structure still exists. The news that comes through is edited and curated for accuracy. That's not what you're going to see in these other places. We are more accountable to our readers, to the people engaged with us, than all of those other media. I'm not going to include radio in there because radio is another old media. Like you and I, we're the graybeards here.
Yeah, no doubt.
But your listeners in a hometown radio station, your listeners here, they're right here. They can reach out and throttle you right here.
But like as you pointed out, we do have online now, krosradio.com, and our sporting events are available worldwide. And it is incredible, the people that we do hear from that are listening to the River Kings or another area's school, or our programming, or a show like this, FYI, that we will be putting on our website. So it's great.
You keep people linked to their hometown. We do the same thing. And I guess a small pitch that I'd like to make, there's some things that I am trying to build, small things at the paper. One is I'm trying to create a column where groups, organizations and stuff can send in their volunteer needs. So basically, it's a column that says, hey, this group has this volunteer need. If you want to go to it, if you want to help out, here's how you engage with them. I encourage groups to send me that stuff. Send it months ahead. So, you've got a big event coming up in March. Try to get those people now in the community. If you want other people in the community to come and help you out, try to get them now, and we'll get them into that column. The other thing is that I want to hear from readers about people in town who make a difference. We're getting into the holiday season when that is, there are lots of people out there who give. Quietly, and they prefer it that way. But I'm a pest, and I want to be able to tell their stories and recognize folks like that, because generally they can have. So if you have somebody that you would like to send along, somebody who makes a difference, we want to write some stories about them. And it's inspirational. Maybe we can get some other people to do it.
Pleasure to have you. And if people would like to contact you, how can they best do that, Chris?
Well, my email is C. Baldus, that's C as in Christopher, then Bald as in no hair, then U.S. as in United States, at clintonherald.com. I'm very patriotic, just right from the beginning. Or you can text me or call me on my cell phone. I'm 641-426-0740. And by the way, if you leave me messages and you leave your phone number on there, say it like that, 641-426-0740. There's some people that have voicemails that I've gotten from them. I have been listening over and over and over again to try to figure out their numbers.
Chris, thanks so much for coming in.
All right, thank you.